How's everybody doing tonight? If you're just joining us and getting in the room, sorry, no intro tonight. Facebook muted it because I used a copywritten song. But that said, come on in, leave a message in the chat or in the comments section. Please say hello. We love to hear from you. Thanks for joining us tonight. As usual, here with Uncle Tony Redpill and Pat Dixon.
Welcome to the Uncle
Kick it
Tony
off,
Show,
boys.
everybody. Yeah, NM had made a nice intro video. It was really nice. It had nice music, a song I never heard before. Then all of a sudden, afterwards last week, NM tells me that they muted the song on Facebook, and you couldn't even hear the song. Now, you know what bothers me? Again, we're not using it for profit. We're not selling it. We weren't sharing it. It's just the beginning of the song. Now, meanwhile, I never heard that song before. So it's exposure for the song, actually. And, you know, if people heard that song, it was really nice. Well, I'm not even mentioning the name of it now, so I'm not going to give them business. But the point is, if they would have, kept it there, a lot of people would have been like, oh, what a nice song, and actually bought it. So you see how that hurts themselves? Unbelievable. Big tech, unbelievable way you big tech. And not even that. You see all the conservatives, are you being censored and banned and all that for no reason? Are you people kidding me right now? Are these people, I mean, you know what it is, though? They have so much money, they don't care. They're going to do whatever they want. But you know what I don't understand? This is what I don't understand. The First Amendment, right? You know, they could say private companies don't have to adhere to that because they're a private company. But guess what? They're publicly traded. And, if you know when you're publicly traded, you have to abide by anti-discrimination laws. In other words, a privately owned company, which is weird. They call it private, but they're publicly traded, so it's technically not private. People forget that. They have stocks in the stock market, and they get government contracts. So, in other words, if you have a business and you don't want to let somebody of a certain race or anything, in there, or, you fire somebody because of some kind of discrimination, you still are liable for discrimination. Now, am I right or wrong, Pat?
I believe you're right, and it would go along with anything, whether you're publicly traded or not. You can't say, well, I don't let black people into my restaurant, and I don't like conservatives on my
That's what I'm saying. You can't
social
do that.
media site.
Even if you're a private business, there's anti-discrimination laws.
Yeah.
And again, this is what bothers me. It's funny when even the fake news was gleefully talking about all these people being banned, and they never said it. They said Facebook wouldn't even give any examples of why.
No.
Because you know what it is? The only reason anybody should ever be censored or banned is if they're threatening people or they're inciting violence, which, if anybody wants to make a big wager, we could all gather up on both sides, put it in a pool, and I'll bet you I could show you a lot more leftist violence and leftist inciting violence than anybody on the right. I mean, when has Laura Loomer incited violence on anybody?
Never
When?
that I'm aware of.
Okay, when did Paul Joseph Watson incite violence? Paul Joseph Watson inciting violence on people. When?
Never.
Alex
never.
Jones?
No.
Okay.
I mean, they tried to say that he, had something to do with somebody in something, one of the school shootings. I don't believe that.
No. What
That he
happened
incited
was,
people and their parents and stuff like that.
well,
to
no.
bother the victims or something.
Well, listen, first of all, for anyone who actually tries to insult Alex Jones or discount him, he's the first person that gave the red pills to a lot of people.
Yeah.
He's exposed a lot all these years, okay?
OG.
Okay, he's the OG of the red pillars, okay? Yeah. Straight up. Who knew about the Bilderbergs before he really exposed them? I mean, we all heard it, but he really exposed them. Didn't he sneak into, Bohemian Grove even?
He did. He was in the woods.
He's the man. Yo, the only thing is, what he said about Sandy Hook. See, now listen, this is the difference. A false flag means something really happened, but it was done for a particular purpose. Mm-hmm. In other words, it was done on purpose, but it really happened. Now, he said about Sandy Hook that it never happened at one point, and he said that there were crisis actors. Now, listen, we weren't there. I don't know anybody from there. With the deep state and the elites and the globalists, I wouldn't put anything past them at this point. Mm-hmm. But again, he said that it wasn't even a false flag, that it just didn't happen. It was, and again, I'm not saying yes, I'm not saying no, but just the way I see the left acting and everybody acting, it would not shock me because they want to push gun control, and that's the bottom line.
Yeah, and the other thing is, like, just to keep it away from that issue itself, there's nothing wrong with having a conversation about that.
And that's his opinion.
If those are your crazy ideas, if they are indeed crazy, then there's nothing wrong with saying them.
But everything else he said is true.
And
and he's exposed the elites, and it's funny. You have these fake news First of all, the fake news Mockingbird media. Okay, those CIA agents. You know what I mean? Those agents.
Yeah, they're errand
That's exactly
boys for
what
the
they
deep
are.
state.
They try to discount him and say that he lies about things, and he really, like I said, he's exposed more. And Laura Loomer is beyond awesome. I love her.
Yeah.
You know what? She should be like the biggest name in media right now. Like I said, in reality. Now think about this. How much fake news has the mainstream media given us for years? Pretty much everything they say is fake.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot is fake, a lot's exaggerated, a
So,
lot's
in other
told
words,
from a biased perspective.
I guarantee you, like I said, Alex Jones, there's only one questionable thing he ever said, but the media for 3 years has been calling President Trump a Russian agent, that he's a traitor, he works for Russia, calling him a Nazi, calling us, his supporters Nazis and racists. Meanwhile, again, any lawyers out there, let's talk, because I'm a supporter, I'm half Jewish, and I really take that insulting that they were calling us Nazis and racist, because I'm not a racist. I ain't no Nazi, all right? You know what's funny? I'm going to tell everybody a little story back in the day, all right? I think, people like my stories.
Yeah.
I got into a brawl twice with Nazis in my life. Now, believe it or not, you would think in New York there was no Nazis, right? Now, back in the day, I used to go to a high school, right? And when I got there, I used to be like a heavy metal dude, a metalhead. I had long hair. I was built, they called me Conan back in the day, So anyway, I went to the school, and I'm a friendly guy. I'm friends with everybody. I'm cool with everyone, right? So in the school, you had the African-American crew in the lunchroom. You had the Latino crew. You had the heavy metal crew. You had the skateboard crew. You had the regular people crew. And you had a freaking skinhead crew. Out of all things. Meanwhile, in my neighborhood, I had never seen skinheads before, right?
Can I just interject? It sounds a lot like prison.
Well, I'll be honest, there was a lot of fights in that school. You had the African-American gang, the Decepticons, fighting with TA7, the Latino gang. Now, me, I was cool with everybody, man. I'm cool. You're cool with me. Yeah. That's all that matters. You're a good person. You're cool. Everything's cool. I don't care what color you are. So in the lunchroom, I used to make my rounds and say hi to everybody. You know what I mean? All that. And everybody loved me. Freaking Nazis. They looked at me funny. Well, I never went to talk to them. They were skinheads. They weren't known as Nazis. They were neo-Nazi skinheads, right? And I never talked to them because they looked like dirtbags, and I never associated with them. So they used to give me dirty looks and this and that, right? So then there was a pizzeria on the side of the school, and there was another high school there where a lot of girls went to, right? So we used to meet up in the pizzeria, me and the girl. So one day you had the freaking neo-Nazis in there, the skinheads, like 30 of them. And they started with me when I was with my girl. Now, I was about to fight all of them. I'm like, yeah, what's up, man? I'm like, yo, let's do this right now. I've already fought like 20 dudes. These guys were like 30, and who knows if they had blades, So make a long story short, I was like, yeah, all right, you know what, you punks, I'll be right back. So I went underneath the train where the school was, and you had the African-American gang over there. Now, I knew the leader in the school. He was a great guy, Leo. I love that guy. Great guy, very smart. So I told him what happened. He said, oh, the Nazis are starting with you? So we went back, and we'll make a long story short. The Nazis never bothered me again. We'll cut it at that. So, they caught a nice little beating that day. Nice. So, and then what happened was, like a few months later, I go to CBGB's in the village. Remember CBGB's?
Yeah, the stories I know about, yeah, but I never was in there.
CB's was awesome, man. A lot of people got their start there. A lot of acts, a lot,
The Ramones, Talking Heads, all that.
I think even
Blondie.
Madonna was there back in the day. But I went to see Biohazard. Now that was a hardcore group, and Murphy's Law, because the guy was from my neighborhood. So me and my friend, we had long hair, right? So we go there, and there was a hardcore matinee at CBGB's. So we go in there, and there was a lot of skinheads in there, because it was hardcore. So my friend Evan started moshing in the mosh pit with the skinheads, and I'm watching him. I was like watching his back, make sure everything's all right, because we were getting dirty looks in there because we had long hair. We were the only people with hair in there. So all of a sudden, the guy sucker punches my friend. You can't do that in a mosh pit. You can't punch somebody. Nah. So I ran, I knocked that guy, and then me and my friend just brawled it out with the whole place full of skinheads, right? So even the bouncers came up to us, they're like, yo, you guys are going to have to leave. Like, yo, I didn't see Biohazard yet. I want to see Biohazard. So then the bouncers like, yo, just stay near us. And meanwhile, everybody's looking at us, and they were scared. They're like, wow, these guys have balls. They fought us. So after the show, we saw Biohazard. That was awesome. That's back when they were getting their start. We're leaving, and there was like 100 skinheads outside waiting for us.
Damn.
So I go to my boy, yo, man, this is gonna be a fight right now. He's like, yeah, whatever, I'm ready. Two Greek, Americans right here, tough. So all of a sudden, one guy came at me, I knocked him out. Another guy came at me, I body slammed him into a New York City garbage can. And those garbage cans have a lot of dog poo in there. People picking up the dog poo even. So then all of a sudden, they all rushed us. So me and my boy start fighting, boom, boom, knocking everybody. We started getting tired. There was like a whole block full. And I even saw, because my friend was a little further away, somebody had a ball and chain. You believe these animals were... They
Like
had,
a mace.
Ball and chain.
Yeah.
And I see, I'm like, yo, Evan, watch it. He got hit, and luckily he moved his head. He would have got hit right in the head with a spiked ball and chain. So he got hit in the shoulder, and then we started fighting. All of a sudden, I see the crowd parting. People are flying away, and I'm like, yo, what's going on? The good skinheads, the straight edge skinheads, because you had the hard edge, which were more than the Nazi types. And you had the straight edge skinheads, which were mixed, white, Latino, black. A lot of them were guardian angels back in the days. So these were the hard edge, the straight edge. Now I didn't even know any of them. So they came and they had our back. And the neo-Nazis were scared of them. And then even they said, man, these two guys put a hurting on you, dirtbags. And then I was like, yo, anybody still want to throw a fair one right now? We'll do it, bro. I was like, you thought 100 you were going to get us? So anyway, it ended there. The good skinheads, the straight edge guys walked us back to the train. They're like, man, you guys, you abuse those dirtbags, and we hate them,
Back when music was good enough to attract all different kinds of people there, too.
But again, the insult, don't ever call me or any of Trump supporters Nazis, because the left are the Nazis. Now, I'll give you an example. We support Israel 100%, right?
Yeah.
You have freaking Hamas launching rockets into Israel. Imagine we're over here doing a nice show, everybody. Imagine you're all at home right now chilling. And you got to worry about rockets hitting your freaking house. Imagine these guys, rockets randomly into Israel. Now, you know what bothers me? A lot of people, that's why the hierarchy of the left and the mainstream media, they know the truth, but they're dirtbags. You remember under Clinton, that piece of garbage, the Camp David Accord? You remember the Camp David?
I've heard it.
All right. It was a peace agreement that was supposed to be between the Israelis and Palestinians, right? Okay. But Arafat was still back. He was alive back then. Now, under the Camp David Accord, Clinton sold out the Israelis, but back then they were going to accept it. The Palestinians were going to get 90% of what they wanted. Now, imagine in life if you got 90% of what you want. I wish I got 90% of what I want, right? And all of a sudden, right when they're about to sign it, Arafat pulls out. So the Palestinians were going to get their 90% of what they wanted, okay? And he pulled out because you got to understand, the PLO and all these people, they get a lot of money and aid from the world organizations for being a suppressed, quote-unquote, group, for being the underdog.
Okay.
It's worth it for them to be the underdog. They get a lot of money.
Yeah.
Even we used to give them aid, and I'm like, how are we giving the PLO aid? And then when Arafat died, he had millions. Now, his people supposedly had no money and they were starving, but when Arafat died, he had millions in the bank. Yeah. Millions. That's why they don't want peace. Because, again, the globalists work with Hamas. They work with ISIS. It's all a crew. And the good people suffer, okay? So, meanwhile, I even know Christian Palestinians that told me, thank God the Jews came back and took Israel back, because we were living in the Stone Age under jihadi rule. And think about it. Look at what the Jews did. They found water. They have a water supply where supposedly there was not much water. They're planting, a lot of vegetation there and food and, all the advancements that come out of Israel. So, and just think about this. They have that BDS group, the boycott, divestment, against Israel. Yeah, really? But anyway, they had SodaStream, and they had a factory there. And you had Palestinians and Jews working in peace in this factory, all making a nice living. And this BDS group boycotted SodaStream so bad, so then it closed, and all those people lost their jobs. So what about all those Palestinians that lost those jobs?
So, yeah, they consider that a victory, don't they?
So, again, certain people don't want peace.
No, they don't.
Okay.
Yeah, they make money off war.
Thank you. Yeah. And I guarantee you Soros is behind all the whole... You notice how it is over there in Israel when they're attacking the border, and then we're being attacked at the border. This is all Soros organized. So President Trump's got to realize that guy, he's a worldwide terrorist, Soros, and, he should... President Trump has to do something. I mean, they've thrown this guy out of so many countries already. It's about time we do. And think about it. If all his organizations get thrown out of here, that's it. It's done. The left is finished. And don't forget, Soros's son was married to Schiff's sister.
No kidding.
Oh yeah,
Didn't
Adam
know
Schiff's
that.
sister was married to Soros'
He's
son.
married to Soros in the family. In the family. Had no idea.
And last time I checked, because I don't really follow up on a bunch of elitist, marital problems, but
Sure.
last time I checked, they were having a bitter divorce. Listen to this: Soros' son and Schiff's wife, sister, over millions of dollars worth of art. All these poor rich people, right? We're suffering because of these freaking jerk-offs. We're being flooded, and our countries are trying to be hostilely taken over. And these animals, these pathetic, dirty, filthy elitists, are fighting over millions in artwork. Don't you feel bad for them, folks?
Oh yeah, they really have. A lot
Don't
of
you feel
problems.
bad? Oh, the poor rich people arguing over millions of dollars worth of Monets and Van Goghs and all this and Blowjos. You know what I'm saying? You dirtbags. All right.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what's going on.
That war industry there, and also the racial grievance industry, which keeps everybody hating each other domestically. Whites, blacks. That's what they want to do.
That's part of the left and the globalists. They divide and conquer. That's exactly what that is.
Promote racial distrust and hatred and stuff like that. That's true. The Russians were trying to do some of that when they would with their Facebook ads and their Twitter ads. But the idea that that there was a connection between Russia and like anything that happened with the election.
Please,
that gets
Russia!
CrowdStrike.
I'm so sick.
CrowdStrike is where that came from. Otherwise there is no evidence.
You want to
they
bet who's
took
behind
CrowdStrike?
CrowdStrike without me even knowing who's behind them?
Oh,
I bet you Soros is behind them.
Well, the DNC they're the ones who hired him. So they wouldn't let the FBI.
And who's behind the DNC? Soros.
Yeah.
Not only Soros. Listen, his buddy Bloomberg, another piece of garbage. He wrecked my city. Bloomberg started it. Don't think this guy De Blasio is just continuing what Bloomberg started. Bloomberg wrecked the Republican Party here. He quadrupled our property taxes. He raised parking tickets, fines, blah. He wanted that soda tax. He's a real low life. He's another dirtbag, Bloomberg, and he's buddies with Soros.
No.
So
the guy we got now makes me miss Bloomberg.
No, you know what? They're all part of the same thing, though. They're the same thing.
We've seen Law and Order just really grow and flourish under De Blasio. We didn't see that under Bloomberg, but I do. Point taken. All that other stuff. It's very true.
Well, listen, Bloomberg wrecked our cost of living.
Yeah.
Big time, and he wrecked the Republican Party internally here. Okay, because he's not a real Republican. You know what I'm saying? So what was he? A Democrat, then he became a Republican, then an independent.
Is there a real Republican?
He's a globalist filth.
Besides
That's
you?
what he is, globalist filth.
I don't think there's a real Republican besides you in New York City.
No, there's plenty.
Me and you.
No, there's plenty. Well, Julian Enum. What about Enum over here?
Oh, right, obviously, Chris.
What about Giuliani? You know what's ironic, folks?
Giuliani.
Everybody remembers when Giuliani was mayor and Pataki was governor, two Republicans. We had the best years here in New York. Low taxes, cost of living didn't go up at all. 8 years, no property tax increases, no fines went up. And because he had Loda as the budget director, Loda was managing the money beautifully. You know what he even did? Look how good Loda was. Remember the police cars were blue, mostly blue, but then they had that white little stripe? What happened was the cars would come white. See, this is what the city, the Democrats and the left, they make money off everything. So the cars were becoming white. It would cost millions to paint them blue. So Loda, to cut back on, said, well, what are we going to spend millions of dollars painting them blue? Put a couple of blue pinstripes on them, and we're good.
Yeah.
Saved millions just on that.
On that alone.
Remember the MTA, how well it was running then? The trains were running. We weren't getting increases every freaking month the way we're getting now. We had these dirtbags.
Which you wouldn't mind if the trains actually worked.
They were worked and they were clean and everything was fine, but they're broken down. The trains were better in the 80s than they are now in New York, folks, okay?
Pretty bad.
That's
My
why it's funny
goodness.
when the
didn't know that.
Democrats call themselves progressives. They are the most regressive. Again, they project. It's like opposite. Whatever they say is just absolute opposite.
Whatever they say, that's what
Think
they are
about it.
doing.
They're stuck on slavery 400 freaking, 200 something years ago when it ended.
Oh, yeah.
Meanwhile, the Western civilization ended slavery. There's still slavery. Hey, all you people that talk about slavery 200 years ago, there's slavery going on right now as we speak.
Yeah, Eritrea.
All
in
over
Africa.
the world.
Yeah.
I think, folks, honestly, I've done my research on this. I think the only countries that don't have slavery are all of the European-based countries, in other words, white countries that don't have slavery, seriously. Japan, that I know of, unless they have some weird stuff going on.
I don't think so.
But
Well,
China-
they definitely have some weird stuff going on, but not slavery.
Okay.
Just like tentacle porn.
But China still has slavery.
Yeah.
People are slaves over here. A lot of these people see working in the Chinese stores, and a lot of them, first of all, they're illegal, at least in New York. And a lot of them are indebted to the Chinese mob for like 30 grand for bringing them here. So they're slaves to them, and if they don't pay them, they'll kill their families in China.
That's a lot
nice.
of mahjong
But none of
games.
you protest that over here, right? Yeah, none of you libtards. Why don't you go do that? And not even that. You have Africans being sold in Libya, see? Obama illegally bombed Libya, which destabilized Libya. Meanwhile, Gaddafi was against terrorism. He was against the extremists. He was against all that.
He was against people popping off his country to go over into Turkey and to Greece.
Well, not even that. He was just against radicals and all that. He protected the Christian minority there.
He kept it all bottled up inside of Libya.
But meanwhile, Obama illegally, unconstitutionally, went around Congress, didn't even ask for approval, because the law states only if there's a direct threat, imminent threat, the president has a right to attack. He wasn't an imminent threat. So you could have asked congressional approval. There should have been hearings to go to war. No, he got the UN's permission. Who's the UN?
You fucking UN.
Who's the UN? The UN, in other words, he went around Congress. He should be in jail for that, by the way, for life.
It's amazing what a huge crime that is, and then there's no outcry.
They don't mention
at all.
it.
No.
The fake news.
Well, he had 8 years of scandal-free administration, Tony.
Yeah, Benghazi was nothing.
Fast and Furious.
His AG was selling weapons to the cartels, but that's nothing, right?
Giving them away.
Giving them away.
Yeah.
You know?
It was ridiculous. Yeah, Fast and Furious, also the spying on the
President
reporters
Trump.
And President Trump.
Well, also the
emerging
IRS
scandal.
targeting of conservatives.
The IRS targeting of
The
conservatives.
VA scandal.
Weaponizing
He didn't care
all
about
that.
our soldiers.
No.
And this is just the stuff you could Google.
Yeah.
Benghazi,
This is
did
stuff
you mention Benghazi?
Of course I did.
Yeah, and also, well, the spying on the reporters, that was huge, both in Fox and the AP people. Yeah, there was tons of scandals for Obama. I mean, tons.
He definitely knew how to misdirect well afterward with stuff like that,
And now looking at this situation here, where the deeper they look into Obama, the more the New York Times has to kind of cover up for him. They say, well, this woman was like they call her a government investigator. When in reality she was
a spy.
A spy, exactly. Government investigator.
It's so many.
She was a deep state spy mole.
Yeah,
spy/mole. And that's the truth.
And saying that the existence of an operation aimed at a presidential campaign reveals the level of alarm inside the FBI over Russian efforts to disrupt the 2016 election.
Really?
The level of alarm. That's what it reveals.
Alarm.
It doesn't reveal the lengths that they would go to stop a Trump presidency. It reveals the level of alarm they had over Russian interference in the election.
Meanwhile, see this guy Papadopoulos right there? If you show everybody over there in the camera. I love this guy, George Papadopoulos. The guy's awesome. He knows a lot. They sent over freaking spies to try to entrap him out of nowhere, people coming up to him. They try to set this guy up. Meanwhile, he's exposed to everything. Believe me, he could bring, between him and Assange, they could bring down everybody. Between this guy Papadopoulos, I like the name Papadopoulos too, because in Greece they had the military general took over Greece. He had a coup against the globalist government of Greece in '67.
Papadopoulos.
Yeah, and Papadopoulos was a strong general. He took over Greece. 7 years only he lasted before the CIA interfered with Greek meddling in Greek government and all that, and the CIA trained their assets to overthrow him.
Yes.
And the leftists had riots there, and the left killed a Greek student, and they blamed Papadopoulos for it. Meanwhile, he never ordered that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's the way they do.
Yeah.
So, that kind of shit is what they do.
Hey, Tony, quick question.
Sure.
That begs the question. What's the longest Greek last name you know? That is real. Someone that you've met or know.
Papathemelis. Papadopoulos is pretty long.
No, I swear I heard one that
Papa Konstantinou.
I heard someone that said something like Papa
Christodoulos.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. I'm like, wow.
Sure.
Economopoulos is pretty long. I know a guy.
Economopoulos,
It's like record setting.
So yeah, everybody, listen. Please share this, share, so we get the word out.
We love all your comments, guys.
Because Big Tech is trying to censor everybody. Who knows how long I'll last? But if anything happens, I'll be on Gab. There's other places. Believe me, you'll see.
Yeah, we got to post up everywhere now.
Yeah, unfortunately, the silencing conservative, which I hope it backfires on them, because in reality, you could look at that as that's collusion to influence elections, because they want to silence conservatives.
Oh yeah. The more they silence, the less of that message there is out there. And you know what? There's just not that much of that message floating around already.
Yeah.
Compared
what I mean?
to all the bullshit that floats around on the
and
left.
they're going after conservative Jews too. They're going after the conservative Jews, so it shows you who's behind, especially Twitter.
Oh yeah.
If you Google Twitter, let me ask you: do you all think Jack's the major shareholder in Twitter?
Mm-hmm.
He's not.
No, he's just the CEO. He's not the owner.
No, he's not the major shareholder either. My friend
he's just the CEO.
My friend didn't know this,
Yeah.
and he Googled who's actually the main shareholder of.
Let's do that for everybody's
and guess,
sake
and
right now.
you know, I if you see who it is, you'll maybe understand why they're going after Jews.
Very, very interesting.
I think I know who it is, but let's, for the sake of the viewers here, let's
I
see.
guess the idea is they're trying to create
by the way,
a big Eastern
majority-
caliphate that takes over
But
the
the
entire
globalists are
world.
behind them. But the
That's
globalists,
what I mean.
they're using the radicals for
Yes,
control.
of
That's
course.
exactly. Yeah, billionaire right there, Saudi prince.
Where are we looking at here? Oh, yeah. Oh, Al-Walid, yeah.
Yeah. And he's not, see, the new Saudi prince, Ben Salman, that President Trump is working, he's trying to reform Saudi Arabia, get rid of the radicalism. Women are allowed to drive, but where's the meeting on that one? Women are allowed to vote now in Saudi Arabia because the new prince, meanwhile, the left hates the new prince. Meanwhile, he's trying to reform Saudi Arabia. See, our country supported Saudi Arabia all those years when they were funding terrorism, when they were promoting radicalism, Wahhabism, you know. But now Prince Ben Salman is a good guy, and the left's going against him.
Yep. That's the way it is, yeah.
Because they don't want that.
I think all this thing, when you look at when it started, it was right after 9/11, I think. That is when we started to see the left become authoritarian.
9/11 was a sign. That was a globalist sign to start chaos. That's what's happened.
They became a little bit in your face and a little bit obnoxious around that time, the left did.
Think about it. The world's changed a lot since 2001.
Yeah,
you know?
and it increased over the years. You know, look, I think that Bush was kind of nowhere with it.
Bush was a piece of shit. He was involved with everything.
Yeah,
he's a deep state lowlife. That Bush family is the biggest gangsters this country's ever had. Ever.
Since like the 30s.
Ever. No, what do you? Yeah. Well, I think they didn't go
Prescott,
back before that.
Yeah.
They did business with the Nazis. Everything.
But people slept on him. You know.
I never liked Bush. I knew he was a deep state third.
People
Remember he said about New World
really
Order?
slept.
Bush, remember the father, New World Order, New World. Remember he kept saying that?
Oh, right.
that?
New
We're supposed
World
to forget
Order.
that? Yeah, New
1,000
World Order.
points of light.
Yeah, a million wars. He had a war. His son had wars. Meanwhile, President Trump's trying to withdraw our troops and not have any wars. But they're going against him, the left, right? You filthy creatures. By
Trump's
the way,
the only thing standing between us and complete chaos is
it's President Trump.
President
seriously.
Trump. God
Seriously.
bless President
I
Trump.
love that man. He's the best. And look, we're winning the trade war with China. China has been hurt. Listen, I know Chinese. Listen, I know everybody in New York. I get info from all over the world what's going on. China's been hurting right now. He hurt them so bad in that trade war. And then you know what bothers me? Another joke. When you have certain companies complaining that some of their parts went up because of the tariffs. But first of all, see, President Trump is such a genius. And yet people say people that support him, we know he is. But what he did was he lowered taxes for the corporation, also for regular people and for small businesses, with the idea he was going to do the tariff thing against China to hurt them long term, to balance out the trade deficit, right? And think about it. They're complaining that a few of their parts went up a little bit in these corporations, but how much did their taxes go down? These greedy bastards.
Yeah.
So they're paying a lot less in taxes. And even with the increased cost of the tariffed goods, they're still saving a ton of money. And they're still complaining, man.
Well,
they don't care about this country. A lot of that's why I'll be honest with you, man. I don't patronize. I don't spend a lot of money when it comes to globalist stuff. I don't buy Amazon. I don't give money to all these corporations. Like, you know, I eat at mom and pop stores.
Oh, sure.
Sure. I haven't gone to movies anymore.
No.
You know, I'll watch it free on TV if I'm home one day. I have cable.
Yeah.
All right, I have cable. What do you want? I need cable. Boom. I'll see a movie that came out a while ago on TV. I don't give them no more freaking money.
That anti-corporate line gets really hard to toe, though, when you start talking about your phone and internet and all that kind of shit. You know, I mean, it's too bad.
Avoid all
you
of them.
do the best you can.
Right, but at least you admit that and you come correct about it. Like, think of how many people are out there, like, being like, capitalism is the devil, while typing it on an iPhone or a Droid and
ordering
like
from Amazon.
in a fucking Starbucks.
And ordering food delivered by Uber.
Right. It's like, at least own it. You know
Yeah, at least we're all about
own
capitalism. Just like some of these globalist companies, they don't have they don't have America's.
You know
best
what?
interest
Really
at heart.
quick, let me just say a shout out because I see a lot of my good friends over here. Let me go up. Tony Capone, what's going on, brother? Sandy Bandy, what's going on? Mile, what's up, my brother? Mile, you're the best, brother.
Tony Capone
Danny,
and Sandy Bandy.
Yeah, isn't that great?
That's a great two to open it up with.
Danny Villanueva, what's up, Danny?
Thanks
Danny's
for joining us, guys.
A long time fan over here.
Yeah, we appreciate all y'all being with us.
John
tonight.
Ailes always there too. What do we got? Chris Cristara, Chris Aluros, Tiegner Cristara. Congratulations, by the way. I heard. We'll talk another time, but I heard. Congratulations there, buddy. Eric Borstel, James Lee Lysak, Padeli. You still there, Padeli? What's going on? Listen, I got my boy Padeli over here. He's good. He's a paparazzi dude. I get a lot of info from him too. I don't know if he's still here. Hopefully he's still here. But you know what?
Yeah, drop us a line, man.
But Padeli, I promised him, and I'll say it again, with this whole college admission scandal. Now, my boy Padeli, he always liked Aunt Becky. He liked, what is that, Full House? What was that called? That was Full House, wasn't it, the show?
Yeah.
What was that, Full House with Aunt Becky, right?
I think so, yeah.
And he's so mad, like the other day, and he's not like into the politics every day like I am. You know what I mean? He's a paparazzi guy, the star guy, but he loves Trump and the whole nine.
Yeah.
He knows the deal. He knows what's reality. And he said it bothered him so much. He goes, so wait a minute though. You got killers and rapists that do 10, 15 years. Even like a lot of these illegals kill people. They're deported 5 times. They come back, kill people. They don't do nothing. But yet they want to put Aunt Becky away. He told me because he was reading in front of me the other day while we were having coffee on his phone. That like they're looking to give her 20 years. If she goes to trial, she can get 40 years for college admission scandal. Meanwhile, the Bush family started like 3 wars, cost how many soldiers' lives, how many trillions of dollars, and they're not doing nothing, no time. Eric Holder and the Obama administration sold weapons to the cartels, right? The left has allowed criminals, rapists, killers, disease, biological carrying people to invade our country, terrorists, and nothing happens. But yet they want to now again. And you know what? You notice how the media always goes after that. What's her real name again? Aunt Becky?
Something Laughlin?
Lori Laughlin, yeah. And they're going after her because I don't know whose side she's on, but that's the point. She's never said anything pro or against Trump. Keep it that way. She's an entertainer. But yet you have that other one who they're not even mentioning. That wretched shrew who really endorsed Hillary, had tweets with her. What's her name? The one that played on the Cougar show. What was that?
On the Cougar show?
What is that? Who's that woman? Anybody out there? Anybody?
Yeah,
Real
drop
Housewives
us a comment.
Yeah, who's that other actress? What's her name? Felicity Huffman, man.
I don't know her too well.
Yeah. Oh, but of course, she did the same thing, but they're really not mentioning her, but they're mentioning her. And it bothers my friend because he liked Aunt Becky and the show.
Yeah.
But the point is, you have violent criminals, even in New York, who shoot people, and they're giving them 2 years in jail.
Yeah. And
sometimes no jail. But yet they want to hang someone with and first of all, excuse me, that piece of garbage, dirtbag, swamp rat, filthy creature, Elizabeth Warren, was saying again, yeah, they got to impeach Trump. They got to impeach with no crime. Meanwhile, what about her? She lied about her ethnicity to get into college, to get scholarships, to get jobs, to get everything. She lied, same thing, but she hurt people because she took other people's positions out, were real Native Americans.
Sure.
Why isn't she being prosecuted? So why isn't Elizabeth Warren being prosecuted?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But that's true. And what they have with Aunt Becky is she is the great white defendant. That's what they like.
Of course.
Yeah.
Oh, they love to hang whitey.
I had a friend who I became a friend long
but if
after
you're a liberal
this.
white, no, not a liberal white. See, I don't think she's a liberal. She's probably like I said, I don't know what she is.
If it's very public like that, yeah. But otherwise, it's like there was a guy who he had some armed robberies. He would apologize afterwards. He was a white guy, and he would say like he was addicted to heroin. They called him the apologetic bandit in the newspaper here in New York City. Finally, his name was Dan Janis. They called him. He did like 12 years. It's the first time he'd ever been arrested for anything. Now, look, I'm not saying that that's more time than he should have done. I'm saying it's more than your standard defendant in that situation does, because he was the great white defendant.
Yeah.
So he did his full 12 years.
Yeah. So.
Well, there you go. I mean, like, it's just evidence of that.
So, by the way, I'm seeing the YouTube people over here. Unauthorized Bear, what's going on? Darth Surak, what's going on? Matthew Adams, Maddie's great. He's on Twitter too.
Yeah, we love the feedback, guys. Thanks. I turned the mics up tonight, so it should be a little louder.
Is Periscope working tonight?
Yeah, we're on Periscope.
We're on Periscope.
We got about.
I can't see. Could you get the
your
comments on Periscope?
We got.
See who's on Periscope.
Unfortunately, because we're doing it through producer, I don't know if I'm able to yet or at all.
Everybody
right
on Periscope, though. Don't worry. Later, I'll watch it.
Maybe I'll jump on Periscope on my phone and see if I can see them there. But that'll take a moment, so bear with me on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you are live on there. Picture looks pretty good.
Hello to everybody on Periscope too. A lot of people on Periscope too. I just can't see if you're there or not. So,
what do you think about this, Tony? Do you think that there's any chance that Barr is going to be able to investigate and prove this deep enough to get?
Dude,
in order to,
the
to
FISA warrants. Listen, this is what bothers me. Okay, and today you had Ray, the FBI head of the FBI. Ray's another swamp rat. It turns out, unless There's stuff going on that we don't know about, and it could just be acting. It could be theater.
Who can
But
tell?
he said, though, you know what's weird? Everybody was like, oh, he said they asked him. They had a couple of swamp rat, traitor, filthy creatures asking him questions today at some hearing.
Of course.
And they asked him, so do you think that President Trump was spied upon? He goes, honestly, I haven't seen anything. He goes, I have no evidence. But he said, I have no evidence of him being spied on.
And he also said,
but the
that's
way he
not
said-
the word I would personally use. And she said, well, I'll take that as a no. And he goes, nah, it's not like that.
So
exactly.
maybe there's stuff going on, but he doesn't want to. Remember, President Trump always said, you don't show your cards.
He did also say
so I'm
there's
not going to
an
knock Ray yet because he says, I don't have evidence. But
ongoing investigation.
Maybe Huber, Huber is over there. And you haven't heard nothing from Huber.
Huber.
Oh, yeah.
Which one's Huber?
In Utah. He's a federal prosecutor in Utah. He's like one of the big DOJ guys. Shady. He's a shady dude. He hasn't said nothing. And Barr is awesome.
Barr is great. He's a rock.
When President Trump first chose Barr, I'm like, Barr was a Bush guy. Like, really? But listen, that's his career, He was chosen back then.
He sort of looks like a fat middle-aged lesbian.
He kind of, actually, he really kind of does.
Little round glasses.
He really kind of does.
Then he starts talking, you're like, the guy's cool.
Actually, he looks like Steve Bannon in a way.
Here, I'm going to pull him up here.
Like Steve Bannon's cousin.
Like, yeah,
He could
like
be
sort
Steve
of
Bannon's
like a baby Bannon.
I'm not
Bannon's
gonna lie,
little
But
rough
he's sharp
looking.
as a whip, though.
When I first read it,
Barr's the best.
Bill
Barr's the
he
best.
does a good job. When I read this, I misread it, and I thought it said Bill Burr, and I was like, yes, Bill Burr, AG.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That would be
brutal. Can you believe this?
He would implement that
not really
population reduction strategy immediately.
It's
But
just
the thing
spying.
is,
He's clearly spying.
Again, while he was, advancing his career, he ended up working for Bush. But it wasn't like he made any kind of policy or did anything wrong. Don't forget, this guy knows a lot. He knows where the bodies are buried.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
This
And
guy's-
he could be a patriot. In
he's
other
a
words,
Washington
he
insider,
worked for
yeah.
Bush back then, but maybe, listen, you have people who are patriots now. We're like, right now we got a president that wants to do the right thing, and we're going to be on his side. What's the problem with that?
Well,
you need people who know what's going on.
He's used the word spying in reference to the
time.
presidential campaign. He has said when a president is spying on a presidential campaign of the opposition party, I think that's a big deal. So that was good
But
to
again,
hear.
the Pfizer, now again, if you get a Pfizer warrant and you're an FBI agent and you're spying or you're doing intelligence on somebody, that's legal because you have the Pfizer warrant to do that. But again, the whole gimmick here, the whole trick is how they get the Pfizer warrants, how they get approval to investigate. In other words, I have friends who are detectives, and they told me if they lied about getting a warrant against somebody to get the warrant, at minimum they'd be out of a job, if not arrested themselves for lying to get a warrant against somebody. Okay,
Yeah.
So these people lied to get those Pfizer warrants to
did.
begin with.
Yeah.
Okay.
They presented information that was compromised. It was obvious. It was salacious and unverified and paid for by the opposition party.
Exactly. That's collusion.
Yeah.
And that's obstruction, and that's everything else.
So-
Again, the left do what they accuse others of.
So
Another example.
before they even had, in order to get that, they had to, in order to get even that shitty
Probable
of a
cause.
They
You need a probable
sent
cause.
they sent this Azra Turk woman over there, right?
Something like that.
Excuse me, sorry, to spy on Papadopoulos to try and get him like, hey,
Yeah.
is anything going on with the Russians?
Yeah.
And that was
Look, the
before
Turks try to get the Greek over there again. You see, hey, they try to get the Greeks any way they can.
before there was a warrant though. Even so, when they call this, they don't call this spying.
That's
though.
entrapment. What they went to do to Papadopoulos was entrapment.
Yeah.
If that happened, if they did that to a cold-blooded killer gang member on the street, and they did what they did
They'd
to
have
them,
to let him go.
They would let them go on technicalities.
Now, this was-
okay, put it that way. I know the
Papadopoulos,
law.
he also says that he believes the Turk, that Azra Turk, is with the CIA, which adds a huge dimension to the scandal.
Of course it does.
Imagine the headline it says here in the Post: Obama's CIA also spied on Trump. So paging John Brennan, your time in the barrel is coming. So that's something to think about.
I'm telling you, what they did to Papadopoulos and everyone else on the Trump team, if they had any hardened criminal with any evidence against them, they would let him go on a technicality for what they did.
Oh,
I mean,
everything.
there's entrapment. There's a million violating their Fourth Amendment. There's so many things.
The tree cannot get more poisonous.
Yeah, and you see again, just look at the real numbers. Like, you know what's great, Chris? If you could go, you have Enem. If you could go to my Twitter feed, my main tweets
There we are. Boom.
on my page actually.
Yeah, we're there. Here, I'll refresh it in case there's anything new. By the way, if you're watching this and you don't already follow Uncle Tony on Twitter, it's at Uncle Tony RP. You should definitely follow him there because that's where he's most active every day. So what are we looking at here?
Keep scrolling down, because it was nice to see that that idiot Chuck Todd admitting all the good financial numbers that President Trump has and all that, just to see them.
What did he call sleepy-eyed Chuck Todd?
Yeah.
Oof, that's an odd one.
Yeah, that. Well, I'll get into that after. Keep scrolling up if you could.
Here, we're gonna do this. Ready?
I just wanna.
Chuck Todd.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. So
he says the economy is doing great.
Yeah, and show the video over there. Look at him. He's trying not to puke while he's admitting the truth. You could tell it's like it's biting him, but the sound on.
It will be in a second.
Yeah. As President Trump likes to welcome back, data download time. As you may have heard, the economy is doing great. As President Trump likes to reiterate, there are jobs, jobs, jobs. And he's not wrong.
And that's a promise, promises. Look at the unemployment rate. Under Obama, it was like, what, 8 point something, 9?
That's
I think it hit over